Hey traders, this is Yanis from EFX. Today we are going to talk about pips. So what exactly is a pip? A pip is the abbreviation used in the trading jargon for percentage in points. Or you can also read or hear about it as price interest point, point in price, etc. But it doesn't really matter. It all comes down to the same thing. The pip is the unit used to measure the price movement of a currency pair. It is a standardized unit which measures by how much a currency quote has changed. Nowadays, an additional decimal point has been added to the currency quotes to allow for fractional pips and a greater accuracy in the currency's price. Traders often use pips to reference gains or losses. So a pip measures the amount of change in the exchange rate for a currency pair, and it's calculated using, like we said, the fourth decimal point of a currency quote. Either that currency quote is expressed with 4 or 5 decimal points, okay? And also using the second decimal point for JPY currency pairs, for the yen pairs. Again, no matter if those yen pairs are expressed with 2 or 3 decimal points in their quotes, okay, the pip is always the second decimal. Here is an example. We don't really care about what kind of currency, which currency pair we are looking at. Okay, that's a currency quote, 1.12971. And like we said, it's a 4 or 5, in this case 5 decimal points. Okay, so it's a non-yen pair, and the pip is the reference to the fourth decimal place. And as you can see here, it's 1 pip. If we go 1 digit on the left, then we would be counting tens of pips. So 97, okay, from 00 to 97, this would mean 97 pips. And if we go yet again 1 digit more on the left, then we would be talking about hundreds of pips, okay, as a difference. Now the last digit to the right, the last decimal place, is called a pipette, and this is the fractional lot, the fractional pip, sorry. So actually it's a tenth of a pip, okay? So if we take that example now of the pound-dollar currency pair, okay, and we have two rates. The first rate is at 1.35361, and the second one is at 1.35371. So what's the difference between those two rates, those two quotes? Okay, the difference is just 1 pip. Remember, we just compare the fourth decimal place, okay? So when, for example, a trader says I made 40 pips on the trade, he means that price moved 40 pips in his favor and he profited by 40 pips. In any given trading position, pip value refers to the change in value following a 1 pip movement for that exchange rate, okay? So in the previous example, here, the pip value, which we don't know yet, for the pound dollar is can be calculated because we do have just 1 pip, at least 1 pip change in the currency rate, okay? So it's essentially the price attributed to 1 pip move in a trade, and it's used to reference the gains or losses incurred on a position. So the amount of money that we lost or gained. The actual cash amount this represents depends on the pip value, okay? So if I make 15 pips gain on the euro dollar, for example, the amount that I will gain will be different than if I made the same 15 pips gain on another pair. And the reason why is because the pip value will be different, okay? So we'll see how to calculate that pip value. The currency pair being traded, the size of our trade, and the exchange rate at the time of our trade, all of that does influence the pip value of the position. So to calculate the pip value for a currency pair, what do? We take 1 pip, which is 0.0001, and multiply by the trade size, or more accurately, the number of base units that we are trading. Then we divide the figure by the current market value of the currency pair. So the pip value is calculated by multiplying the decimal places in pips, which is 0.001 for non-yen pairs, okay? And we multiply it by the trade size. So the trade size is for a standard lot, 100,000 units. If we trade one mini lot, then the trade size would be 10,000 units, okay? And we divide that by the exchange rate that the currency pair has at the moment we close our trade. What the formula that we saw previously means that the pip values will be different between currency pairs, since currency pairs have different rates and different quotes between them. Now, if the quote currency is the US dollar, however, the value remains always the same. So for a standard lot size, trading 100,000 currency units, the pip value will always be $10. Okay, and by quote currency, for those who don't remember or not aware, it's the currency that is referred on the right-hand side of the currency pair. So in the euro dollar, okay, the dollar is the quote currency because it's on the right-hand side. The euro is the base currency. So whenever you have the US dollar in the quote currency on the right-hand side, then you know upfront that the pip value is $10 for a standard lot size for 100,000 units. So if you trade 3 standard lots, then you will have $30 per pip value, okay? It will be $10 times 300 or times 3 for the 300,000 currency units that we are trading. Now, if the dollar is the base currency, so it's on the left-hand side of the currency pair, like the dollar CAD, then if your account is open in US dollars, then you can just simply divide the value for a standard lot, which we saw is $10 per pip, okay, by the USD CAD rate. So let's suppose that the dollar CAD rate is at 130 currently, then the pip value, if you trade one lot of dollar CAD, okay, will be $7.69. That's the pip value. And how do we come to that? We take the standard $10 per pip for a standard lot for 100,000 units, and we divide by the currency rate, okay, which was, like we said, 130. Now keep in mind that pip values are typically fixed when the currency the account is funded with is listed as the second, as a quote currency in a pair. Now, using the same logic that we saw previously, okay, if you have a British pound account and you're trading the pound whatever, the pound dollar, okay, you will also have a fixed pip value, but this time expressed in pounds. So to calculate the value for a pound whatever pair, like the pound Swiss, for example, okay, you divide the fixed pip rate by the exchange rate. Just like we did with the dollar CAD previously, remember, we do the same thing. So if, for example, the pound Swiss pair has an exchange rate of 0.8550, then a pip is worth 11.7 pounds, okay, for a standard lot, again, for 100,000 currency units. Now, if we traded one mini lot, 10,000 currency units, obviously the pip value would be 1.17, okay? So for a standard lot, what do? Just like we did with the dollar CAD, we take the 10, which is the base cost, let's say the base pip value, okay, but this time expressed in pounds, and we divide by the currency rate, and we come up with the pip value for the specific currency pair. Now, if your trading includes the Japanese yen, the JPY, GBPJPY, for example, the formula is slightly different since pip movements for the yen pairs are measured using 2 decimal points. In this example, after calculating the pip value just like we do, okay, we multiply the results by 100. So in the case of the pound yen exchange rate, for example, right now at 134.7, we divide the 10 pounds, which is again the pip value for a standard lot size 100 currency units by 134.7, and we multiply, because it's a yen pair, the result by 100. That will give us a pip value of £7.42. The process now for calculating pip movements is pretty straightforward, okay? You identify the price move on the chart, you mark both the beginning and the end price of that move, then you subtract those two prices and you end up with a difference. In this example that we are looking at right now, we see a drop, okay, a significant drop in price, where at the top of the move, price was at 111.60 and then it dropped down to 110.45. So this is the way we quantify that drop. We are able to calculate the number of pips of that drop, okay? So we just subtract 110.45 from 111.60. That will give us a difference in price between the two quotes of 0.0115, which in short, remember the pip value is the fourth decimal, so that means that the drop was 115 pips, okay? So what did we do? We subtracted the price shown at the end of this down move from the price the currency pair had at the beginning before the fall, okay, and that gave us 0.0115. This represents a difference of 0.0115 in the price value, which can be expressed, like we say, as 115 pips. Now, if you were short at the beginning of that move and you close the position at the end of the fall, then you would have made a profit of 115 pips. Obviously, if you were in the wrong direction and you were long initially, then you would have lost 115 pips. So it's extremely important to know, we talked about the units of currency, okay, that we are using. So a standard lot again uses 100,000 units of currency, which give or take gives us a pip value of, let's say, $10, okay, in general. So one lot, if we make 15 pips, we would gain $150. If we manage to make 25 pips, then we would gain $250, which is a substantial amount. Now, if we are using mini lots or 10,000 units of currency, then the price value for each one of the pips for each move drops down to $1, obviously, okay? So trading 0.1 lot, which is the equivalent of a tenth of a full lot, okay, so a mini lot. If we make 15 pips, then we will gain $15 instead of 150. And if we make or lose 25 pips, then we gain or lose $25 instead of 250. Now, we can also use 1,000 units of currency, which is a micro lot, and the pip value for each one of the micro lots is 10 cents per pip. So if we traded 0.01 lot, which is a micro lot, and we made the same 15 pips, then we would gain $1.50. Okay, so it's important to know the units of the currency based on the lots that we are using and we are trading. Now, suppose that you traded two standard lots on the euro-dollar pair and it closed at 117.50 after gaining 60 pips. So how much money did we make? Recall that pip value is the decimal place pip times the trade size divided by the exchange rate. So let's calculate that pip value. Because it's a euro USD, okay, it can have 4 or 5 decimals. We are using the fourth as the pip measurement, so it's 0.0001 times 2 lots. We traded 2 standard lots times 100,000 units each, okay, divided by the currency quote, the rate at which the trade was closed, 117.50. That gives us a pip value of 17.02 euros, or if we translate that in USD, remember we said one standard lot in dollars is about $10 per pip, okay? So trading 2 lots, that would give us $20 per pip. Now, to see how much we made on that trade, we multiply the pip value, 17.02 euros or $20, by 60 pips. And that gives us, again in euros or in US dollars, the total amount that we gained. Let's also have a look at the loss calculation. It's the same thing. Okay, this time we are going to use a yen pair. So let's suppose that we have one lot, one standard lot, 100,000 units of the USD JPY, of the dollar yen pair, and it closed at 110.4. Okay, and we lost 50 pips. So how much money did we lose? Since we are trading the yen, we used 2 decimal places. So the pip value is 0.01, okay, times one lot, 100,000 units of currency, divided by the rate, 110.4. That gives us, for the dollar yen pair, okay, a pip value of $9.05. We lost 50 pips on that trade, so the amount that we lost was equal to $452.50. Having a thorough understanding of pips and pipettes and distances and calculations, you know how to calculate your P&L, your profit and loss, is extremely important. So understanding what we saw together will go a long way in helping you become a much better Forex trader. Remember, as an advice, as always, to get as much practice as possible on a virtual account or a demo account before going live. That will save you a lot of sorrow. So this is Yanis from EFX. Thank you for being with me throughout that presentation, and I hope I will see you on the next one. Take care.